co-awesome of this entire event. Sir, very good to see you. Just tell us, what's the name of your panel?
As usual, it's a TDeFi panel.
Oh,
we don't rename it ever. It is TDeFi panel. We are talking about the newcomers in the incubator, people who are solving real world problems. As you know, our mission is not so degen as the whole blockchain space is. We are still working with more orthodox real world use cases and solving them through blockchain sort of companies.
So this is a friend of mine, very dynamic individual. I suggest if you haven't met him, take some time during this conference and get to know him. He's a good man. So one more round of applause, just so I feel like high energy. And you will introduce your co-panelists, and it's yours, and here's your microphone. And I will try to get around you. This is mine. Okay, no, you can have it. All right, go.
Yeah, it's always better to look in front than looking back, right? More philosophically. So I would want to invite Dan from Conreality. I'm sure they'll have the chance to introduction, but I usually jump onto introductions. So Conreality, anyway. Conreality is supplying infrastructure to gaming arenas, the physical gaming paintball arenas, and then bringing the same technology to metaverses and bridging the gap of digital metaverse and gaming world. We have Emrah from Vault. Emrah is, so Vault Network is a supply chain on public blockchains for gaming license and digital assets. They've already traded more than 500,000 license keys around over their platform already. So, you know, live and kicking platform. We have a replacement for Lisa, her co-founder. I'm sorry, I forgot the name. Lou. So we have Lou from FLUIDEFI. FLUIDEFI is still not blockchain inside, but they're actually solving a big DeFi problem for all the DeFi startups that come in with absolutely no idea of finance. FLUIDEFI gives them the necessary infrastructure and intelligence through their API. So if you're a bank, you can directly integrate. If you're a DeFi protocol, you can integrate with them and produce yields. We have Yuvraj from Companion, better known as Adverse. Adverse is an education metaverse, a team of close to 200 people since the last 7 years, building other metaverses, and finally decided to do one of their own. They have a huge repository of content, of education content, more than 50,000 courses. Is anyone left?
I'm going to do one thing. I know I'm breaking protocol. I feel like they're blocked by the speaker stand. I want them to be seen and heard.
Yes, please. Maybe somebody there. Let's call Kimberly Adams from Bridge Network. Simple straight line, bridging assets across chains. As simple as that. If you have a digital asset, token, NFT, whatever, just use their product in a single click. You'll be across all the chains they are integrated with and adding more. So 9 chains by now. How many chains? 9? Okay, cool. So are we missing anyone last time? Nope. Okay, please pay it. Okay. Brilliant. So as you might have seen, we are missing Laris from Decentralizers. We have Laris. Oh, welcome. Laris from Decentralizers. It's a DAO for movie production led by some of the leading producers and directors, screenplay guys from Canada. They've already covered up the first movie. It's a movie trilogy dedicated to decentralizers, which is all of us, people who are bringing value to real world through blockchain. So I'd probably begin with a line of your introduction. I mean, with a request to ask for a line of your introduction and the project in your own words. I know I've done my part, but that's a very business thing. You do your introduction, please. Begin with Lou.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lou Sirico. I am the Chief Technology Officer for FLUIDEFI. FLUIDEFI provides analytics and portfolio management of decentralized assets.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Laris, and I'm co-founder of Decentralizer Prdouctions. And we bring the movie production industry into the blockchain.
Hi, everyone. My name is Komorny. I'm CEO and co-founder of Conreality, and we are making the Steam for the physical games in the metaverse.
Hello. Hello, this is Emrah, co-founder and CEO of Volt Network. We are basically bringing the digital industry into supply chain management system and across the chains.
Morning, guys. Kimberly Adams. I'm the co-founder of Bridge Network, and we are focused on interoperability amounts to different blockchain networks.
Good morning, all. This is Yuvraj. I am part of the co-founding team at Edwards, and we're aiming to build the single largest interactive, immersive, and insightful education metaverse ever. Thank you.
Fantastic. Obviously a disclaimer, these are TDeFi projects. I'm the CEO for TDeFi. We are highly vested into each other, and the panel might only talk about our strengths. We'll open up the question round for you to sort of point out our weakness if possible. Because we have not seen a lot of questions coming in the last 6 months across multiple events. So we'd encourage anyone having questions not to wait till the end and just simply raise hands whenever you have a question. Like, super encouraging towards questions. So first, please introduce the problem statement. How are you solving? What are you solving in the real world that can't be solved without a blockchain? Okay. Or a blockchain solution in case of Lou.
Great. So let me take that. So the basic problem we're solving is if any of you have ever tried to do any type of investment using a Uniswap or a SushiSwap, basically an automatic market maker, the information that is currently available is very, very difficult to find. It's very disparate. So we had a vision about 1.5 years ago to create something that traditional finance, traditional investors are interested in, are comfortable with, and that's something called a Bloomberg terminal. So we had this vision of building a Bloomberg terminal for decentralized assets, for DeFi assets. And so we set out with that vision, and it took us about 1 year to actually come up with something that really worked, that was fully functional. And then on top of that, we added another product or another similar product called Morningstar that allows you to model portfolios of assets. And we put these together in an API and a dashboard. And I'm very happy to say after a 1.5 years of development, we actually got our first customer in the US, a bank customer. And since then, we've been adding customers and adding features and adding functionality. But basically, our whole mission and vision is to attract financial capital, banks, hedge funds, and other institutional capital into blockchain, into decentralized assets, because that benefits every one of us, every one of you in the room, everyone working in this space. The more institutional capital that's attracted into blockchain, the more widely adopted it becomes and the more widely accepted it is. And there's less fear as well. when the institutions are using tools they're comfortable with, they suddenly become less afraid. They're not afraid to deploy their capital. They're not afraid to take advantage of the higher returns that they can be generated using blockchain than can be in your traditional stock market. So that was the problem we were trying to solve.
Nice. I am personally a big believer of the fact that the killer use case of blockchain is finance up until now. I do come from a background, since 2015, when people on the same stages of blockchain conferences would identify 10,000 use cases of blockchain and would say, supply chain will kill finance and the currency thing, and whatever, medical will be a bigger use case. But somehow we saw emergence of value while trading coins, and then we saw DeFi, another killer one. Obviously, NFT is taking things by storm, and let's see, we're still waiting for DeFi 2.0, right, to strike very soon. Laris, how is as somebody within the space, everyone's talking about DAOs to be the next big thing. How are you bringing movies to DAO, and how is it different from a usual production?
So I suppose we can take one step back and just think about crypto in general and why we are all here and liking it. So to me, this is because of the power to change the status quo, to make an impact on society. And this is what crypto is actually all about. And for a lot of us here in the room, this power of crypto is very evident. It's a no-brainer. But what we tend to forget is that a lot of people haven't heard about this yet. We are still very early in the technology adoption curve. So most people in this world have heard of digital currencies, they have heard of Bitcoin, but do they actually know the power behind this technology? They don't. What they hear in the news is somebody being hacked away their money, somebody getting rich overnight, being locked out of their currencies. So what we do with Decentralizer's Prdouctions is we take that stigma away and we show what crypto actually does and the power behind it to change society. And now we come to the DAO part, because not only does it change society, but with that many industries. One of them is obviously the movie industry. So through the vehicle of a DAO, we can give people the right to decide of how our society looks like, to be a part of the progress. And specifically in the movie industry, because it's a power scoot industry. So there's a very few production houses that take control of an entire industry. And now what crypto does for the rest of the world, it is doing for the movie industry as well, giving the vote back to the people.
Okay, I'd still bring things back to the DAO side. How is the DAO applicable here? How is DAO solving the production side?
So,
because the tagline I saw on the stage, when we were introducing the video about Decentralizer, it said DAO induced movie production for crypto influencers.
Yeah, I guess what the internet has done is bringing the direct influence of people, through connecting to each other. DAO is the next step institutionalizing this, rather than one corporate being in the center of all. Now collectives of people can come together and decide between each other what is best for them and not what is best for the bottom line of a company.
Dan, how do you think the digital and physical space merger that you have envisioned with Conreality works out? Because everyone's talking about metaverse. Facebook is launching Meta. While we are practically everyone, while we are all talking about going to digital, you're actually talking about being beyond, right? How does that spans out? How would it work? Why do you think this would work?
Well, first of all, I have some good news for the parents in the audience. If you have kids stuck 14 hours in front of Fortnite. We are going to change that in a big time. But realistically speaking, why is that happening? All the big companies making shift towards digital metaverses, not including necessary fact that you always have to start with physical, tangible realities. What you saw, the short clip from the teaser, displays our whole approach to the metaverse. Start with the physical, then build digital experiences on top. And to answer your question, Gaurav, I don't see into Mark Zuckerberg's head. To be honest, I absolutely don't know. It's just like with any other burgeoning part of the tech sector, there will be multiple approaches to handling this topic. We saw it with the smartphones, with the cloud, with the emergence of the internet itself. Not everybody will win. So, but we are pretty confident that it will be us who will have the necessary chops to change the industry. More speaking about the actual necessities, the current gaming economies and gaming models are already outdated by all definitions, and there's a plenty of room to disrupt this part of the industry as well. Very quickly, bring the ownership to the players and gamers. If you are a player and a gamer, I come from that background, specifically about NFTs, talking right now. You would want to own the items. You don't want these items to be owned by the gaming companies that create these games. You spend hundreds of hours to get these precious items. You deserve to own them.
So I know we've digressed a little from the core topic. I'll bring it back. What are you solving through blockchain that wouldn't be solved otherwise? Emrah.
Awesome. Thank you, Gaurav. You know that we are actually the game industry veterans, and we actually, like with other projects that I executed before, we basically distributed millions of digital games to all over the world before. And the games industry is actually one of the first embracers of the blockchain and NFT technology. And you believe that we think that the games industry is actually taking over the whole blockchain scene and one of the pioneers of this arena. But actually, because we are working with the biggest publishers in the world, when I check all these APIs and these distribution systems, what they have all these years in our businesses, we found out that it's like actually they're using that 19th technology. The business, sales business industry is basically managed by the dinosaurs. In terms of the sales operations are working in a physical mindset, but totally digitized industry. So we came up with this idea with that when we were working, like why these distribution channels are so bad and why don't we fix it? Because we know the solution, and the solution is the blockchain. On that level, we are solving actually two problems. One of them is you cannot trace and track a digital asset at the moment. So the game publishers, they don't know where their products are ending up. That is creating billions of dollars of gray market frauds, etc. So we want to solve that directly with this our solution. We want to reconcile real time the payments, etc., automate every process of the digital supply chain area. Because our industry also reconciliation is a huge problem. Think about that. We have like 6,000 games. 6,000 games have like 5 different editions, 5 different DLCs, and maybe 20 different pricing points from all over the world. And finance departments are going crazy to fix that. And spending months of time, it is totally inefficient. First, this is the real-time problem. This is today's problem that we are solving. And the second level, we want to look at the future, of course. The future of the industry is turning into blockchain gaming, NFTs, etc. But industry is still selling physical goods like CDs. And we would like to bridge this Web 2 system into the Web 3 and connect and basically evolve the gaming industry together with us and basically hope to evolve these dinosaurs into 21st century with our system. That's what we do.
Yeah, so blockchain essentially is a ledger, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You've just brought the ledger to the
Yeah,
distribution system. So it's a supply chain use case.
Yeah, exactly. But also trace and track system, and also for us, if the product is totally digitalized, the real-time reconciliation and payments must be also, right now you are just sending 10,000 keys to a supplier, and then at the end of the month, they are sending you the report how much of them they sold. And then you get the payment 1 month later. So basically you wait like 2 months to get your payment. This is totally physical mindset. It's like sending a truck to a warehouse and then sold and then returned. But this finances and sales operations built like that. We want to change this. We want to innovate all this stuff and revolutionize the system.
Nice. Kimberly,
Okay.
same question.
Lots of cool projects up here, but actually, so we're solving a problem that blockchains created. The reality is—
You create a monster and it creates more monsters, something like that?
Yeah. So the reality is that there are hundreds of blockchains out there, and it doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. Every single day I open Twitter, I see a new blockchain has just launched. And so what we're building at Bridge Network is essentially an interoperability protocol. And what this allows is that for users to seamlessly move any sort of data or value between these blockchains. And I like to bring it back to a real world example. Let's say you had, your email. Let's say I wanted to send Gaurav an email from my Gmail account to his Outlook. Imagine if he couldn't send that information, or imagine if he had to use a completely different protocol to send a video message or an image or text. So bringing that back to the blockchain world, we're essentially creating all the tools for users to be able to send any sort of data, whether that's an NFT, whether that's a token, if they want to make a swap cross-chain, whatever the case is. Because right now, in order to move these different assets cross-chain, you have to use different protocols. And the process it sucks right now. And I come up from a background of user experience and design. And so we're really bringing that to the DeFi world. Because users should not have to go through this long process just to move between networks. We really want to solve that by removing the fragmentation for this process.
Fantastic.
See, one of the most important things that we believe is human capital, and education forms the backbone of who we are and how the civilization evolves. So very specifically to the blockchain perspective, we spend the maximum time in institutions, be it school or college. And if all of that can't be put onto a blockchain, I think education forms the most definitive and the most informed use of blockchain that I can possibly think of. So that's what we're trying to do. From the moment you sort of step foot into the world of education, it starts at a very, very tender age to the time you sort of move out. Every possible interaction that you've had should be put up there on a blockchain, and not just about the subjects that we do. So there's more to it in your life than just doing subjects, right? So learning happens through various interactions that have happened, and maybe later we'll talk more about how Edwards will sort of bridge in. But yeah, the whole idea is to capture that human potential and ensure that, as a civilization, we are accelerating intelligence. So we're using a more informed use of blockchain to accelerate human intelligence forward.
Wow, that were a lot of jargons, I must say. How many of you did understand all those words? See, we have a hall full of smart people. They did. So essentially, you're disrupting finance. You're disrupting movies, you're disrupting physical gaming, gaming licensing and supply chain. You're actually fixing blockchain itself, and you're fixing education, right? Why do you think there's this big gap? And obviously, with all due respect, you're not the biggest companies in the world. We have billion-dollar conglomerates who are working in this industry for more than decades and a few for centuries. Why aren't they bending towards blockchain if the solution that you claim you have is an imminent solution? Why aren't they looking at it? What would bring them in, like further to comprehend? We have just 3 minutes, so maybe try to wrap it up in 2-3 lines. What is it that they don't see, or what is the barrier for them to enter if the solution you propose is imminent?
I think we are kind of mistaken about when we think about the big companies. Think about how many projects Google killed, or how many projects EA Games killed in their ecosystem, etc. So I think the big companies essentially doesn't bring the right solution every time. So strength or bigness is not brings agility. I think in that sense, like what we could do as startups, because we can move fast and we can flow and then we can change and innovate faster. Because I work with the biggest companies, they are taking 6 months to make one decision and then another 6 months to make another, onboard that decision, if you're lucky, and that's actually creating the essence of the problem. So as startups, until hopefully we become corporate, we should use that power. This is our power, because sometimes against a big army, a small but more agile army can be much more effective. So that's the power, and that's how we can change and make effect in the
that's
industry.
For all the startups across all industries, right? You're speaking on behalf of the entire startup fraternity, almost, right?
Sorry, I couldn't hear.
You're speaking on behalf of the entire startup fraternity.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
But welcome to the world of DAOs then, right? No matter how big a corporate you become, you can still implement hard terms on decisions and their obvious outcomes. This is what DAO does in front of the public.
Yeah, and I suppose also usually
Talking about DAOs.
Innovation and disruption tends to happen from outside, because when you are institutionalized, it comes down to the person as well. They have a job, they have a management to report to, right? So taking a risky step that might end up badly can cost me my job. But when I do the things that have always worked, then I'm also in a safe seat. So yeah, I guess that's
another Steve Jobs won't have to be kicked out of Apple, right?
Also, I think that, we are literally, this is a financial evolution that's happening before us. And I think everything that happened in the early 2000s in the legacy system, we're just moving that on chain. And so there's a lot of problems to solve, from the financial sector, from the way people are managed in the DAO sector to supply chain management, where it's almost like we're just taking everything that existed and moving it onto blockchain system. And that's why there's so many opportunities that exist, and why we're all here.
Fantastic. Any questions in the house while we close the panel for today? Okay, we have 1, 2. Somebody would assist with the mic. Yeah, please go on, and I can repeat.
We can hear you.
Okay. We can hear you though, yeah.
Movie production DAO, how can you prevent whales taking over any voting that there is on DAO?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, please. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, what Bridge Network is doing is that we're not limited by the networks we support, and also we don't depend on any sort of systems. Our entire infrastructure is built directly by us. Even our oracles, we don't use Chainlink or any of the other projects that exist, although it's something that we are exploring. But our system is completely composable and scalable to that nature. And additionally, we can send any sort of data between these different blockchains and create any logic. So right now, if you were to use something like that, you probably couldn't trade cross-chain, and that's something that we're allowing. You probably couldn't rotate your capital that's on one farm onto another blockchain. And so this is what Bridge Network is doing. We're taking all of the tools that a user might need and allow them to have one seamless interface that they can come and just leverage those tools. And additionally, on the project side of things, right now, in order for a project to move their asset or have their assets available on a different chain, what we call the destination chain, they have to go to an existing bridging system and ask them if they can add their token to their bridge. Or they can maybe go hire some developers, which would cost money and take a lot of time to build a custom bridge for them. With Bridge Network, we allow projects to come, import their smart contract address, and in under 30 seconds, their assets are automatically added to the global token bridge. And so when they go back to the bridge, their community can start bridging their assets in a few minutes. And this is something that really hasn't been done before. And we think this is super important because it solves the builder's dilemma, which is when you're building a new blockchain project, you're thinking, do I want to build on the blockchain that has the most users? Do I want to build on the blockchain that has the fastest transaction speed, or whatever the case is? Now you can build on all. You can continue to build on Ethereum, but have your assets lay on a different blockchain such as Avalanche or Phantom.
So basically, it's not just a protocol, it's a solution.
Exactly.
The second question was for the DAO. He's saying, how are you tackling the whale problem with DAOs? So I mean, in general, it's solved already, but I'd allow the person you posted the question to.
Yeah, so I guess when I look around here to all of the seats and the problems that all of the projects of ours and all the other founders in blockchain are solving, it comes down to one thing, which is abuse of power. And the blockchain has the ability to take this away, to make it transparent and to make it fairer. Now, obviously, when it comes to DAO structures and you go for a route where the majority lays with the amount of tokens that somebody holds, that becomes a challenge. But at the same time, the beauty of new structures is also that there is room to improve any of those mistakes. So one of the solutions, which I guess is the direct answer to your question, is that voting rights will be structured in a way that it is number of participants and not the number of token holders.
So basically, yeah, it's above the new voting structures that we are looking at are beyond staking, so to say. You know, that's not just with them. Most of the DAOs have already solved it. They're taking away the rights from staking numbers to more so meritocracy and participation. And a gentleman, Hadi, it's your audience. Do you want me to kill them? Okay, one question. Okay. I mean, after this or before this? Okay, one question. Sir.
I'd like to pick up the idea why corporates do not pick up blockchain. We are a DeFi clearinghouse. I'm representing XVA blockchain. And if you look on the competition, the clearinghouses, for instance, they say, okay, blockchain is a great idea. But what happens if they really apply that? Now they are centralized. They can manage the fees for themselves. They can just pick up the fees. They can bring it up. And I think this is kind of the new idea. And this is the question I have here to my colleagues. Do you think this is the driver for you as well, for movie industry, for instance, that there's not really, the big companies do not adopt it because it kills their own business, kind of?
I have a little cover up on this. I don't believe institutions aren't taking blockchain. Yeah, they might not be taking in crypto directly, but 5 years ago, I entered, one fine day, I entered Singapore airport, and the first banner, the huge banner I saw was LNT, the big infrastructure company, and it was a huge glow sign LNT, and 2 words below this, infrastructure blockchain, right? And at the same season, I was in New York for Consensus, and out of the airport, there was a big sign of HSBC reconciling over blockchain was the only thing. It is how big blockchain has already become in large corporates. So first things first, I don't agree to the fact that blockchain is not being adopted. I think it's adopted big time. For them, they're just using it as a database, so they don't publish it. You know, they don't have a coin to pump, so to say, with these marketing. And then secondly, DeFi. I personally, I'm a board member to 3 banks and an investor in early stage for banks and crypto banks. And I'm telling you, they are just looking, a lot of banks are just looking for a way to enter, and Aave and similar protocols who have sort of managed to bridge the compliance side of it have a gazillion dollars managed by them. And FLUIDEFI, as they said, they already have plugged into institutional banks. So I think it's more to us to solve that problem. We have to go to them. We can't be the same anarchists that have built blockchain. We can't be the same guys, right? It has to evolve. There has to be a bridge between both the parties, and I'm sure it is happening, and it'll happen even more. But to answer, to take it particularly to him.
I think you're touching on a very important point of killing your own business model. This is one aspect of it, but then also when a new technology comes in place, especially when you are a big corporation, one of the issues is when something goes wrong, who do you blame, right? So the traditional way, there's always one person responsible that we can put the blame on. Now something goes wrong on the blockchain, even it might save me 90%, 99% of whatever the costs are. If I have nobody to blame, then where do I go, right? So I think this is one of the things, but these as adoption comes and trust increases in technology in a wider scope, these problems will get less, and the institutions are adopting.
Guys, Hadi has stood, which is an extreme sign. Like, it is a sign of extremism. We have to, before we get kicked out, we have to kill it. Sorry, guys, you can take the questions out of the hall. For sure, we're available, but you have a closing statement?
Yeah, let me just add one other quick part. Absolutely, yes. Who do they blame? That's why we provide like white glove treatment for the banks. But the other things the banks are very much looking at are what type of policies and procedures you have. You need to have ISO 27001 or SOC 2 compliance. You need to have security, pen testing, absolutely done, certified. Otherwise, they will not even talk to you. So many of the solutions are not tailored to institutions. You have to build your product from the ground up to address these issues that banks are going to ask you for, that regulators are going to look at, and they're going to scrutinize you before they're going to even waste any time with you.
I think FLUIDEFI is a huge example for the same. Guys, I've seen their journey from the scratch. They were a product from our hackathon, and before even they've gone out for fundraising, they have not just one, but many banks using them. And probably that's about the approach they have. So Lou here has a background with multiple departments of US defense, from FBI to DOD. The other co-founder, Lisa, is ex-PayPal, Oracle, and so on. So, it's in the approach that has made them as successful as they sound from the stage. I think you've got to have good advisors, not the techie ones, but more so from the business side, who can suggest you where to mold yourself, how to mold yourself to have bigger corporates and enterprises on the side. I'm sorry.
I digress.
Yeah. Let's kill it. Thank you, everyone. You've been an amazing audience.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, panelists. Are you doing pictures?
Hadi, pictures?
Yeah. We'll have to wait for pictures.
Are there photos or?